Hey guys, welcome back to the podcast. I'm your host for this episode, Taryn Hunt. Thanks for joining me. I've got a special podcast for you guys today. On this episode, I have Mark Boardman with Vortex Optics, and Mark's been on the podcast with me before. I'm sure most of you guys remember that podcast. We talked about some of the new products that they were coming out with. In this episode, we again talk about new products that Vortex is coming out with for 2021. They have a pretty big year planned, some pretty cool launches that they have planned this year, and it started off with some new products on January 7th that were released. Those include tripods, range-finding binoculars that are pretty dang special, and some AR platform style scopes. Mark and I get a chance to chat about these products. He gives us some details about them and kind of lets us know who would be interested in these products. So if you had a chance to be on social media, you've probably seen the launch of these, but I wanted to launch this podcast so that you guys could know a little bit more information about the products. Also, be on the lookout. We've got some YouTube videos that'll be coming out about these products and more products. It's one of the big things we want to do in 2021 is do more reviews, give you guys some more information, and really truly be a resource for you all. So I want to thank Vortex Optics and thank Mark for joining me. Vortex sponsors everything that we do here at eHunter, and we're very grateful for them. So enjoy the podcast, guys. Let me know if you have any questions. All right, everybody, welcome back to the eHunter Newscast. I'm your host for this episode, Taryn Hunt. I have another repeat guest on today. One of the funnest guys one of the guys I enjoy talking to the most because we talk about some really cool products and things like that. On the call today, I have Mark Boardman with Vortex Optics. Mark, how you doing today, buddy?
I'm doing good, Taryn. How you doing, buddy?
Doing fantastic. Excited to do this podcast and talk about these new products. And I'll get the cat out of the bag pretty quickly. I've got a couple of these actually in my hands right now, and so I'm excited to put some of these things to the test. So before we get into what's going on at Vortex and what's new for 2021, Mark, I know you've been on, but would you mind just taking a few minutes and telling everybody who you are and what you do there at Vortex?
So Mark Boardman, Vortex, going on just a little over 10 years. I've been in the marketing department here the whole time with a lot of focus on media relations, and definitely more in the last year transitioned over to the content side, so co-host our podcast. So maybe we'll have to get you on ours at some point here. Probably been remiss in doing so. But yeah, so and just having a lot of fun doing it. The company has just been is just an amazing company, focused extremely heavily, putting the customer first, so you can always be proud of that. And it's a fun ride, and everybody's got their head down grinding, just trying to do the best job they can here to create and make and get good products and great products out to our customers.
Awesome. And you guys definitely do that. You hit it right on the head. The company as a whole is amazing. I mean, we love being partners with you guys, and Phil. That's the great thing about being partners with you guys is we feel like we're part of the company, and it's not that way with every company, and so we appreciate you guys and what you do for us here at eHunter, and look forward to a long-standing relationship. And for those that are listening, if you want to see Mark's face, you can go on social media. Mark's the one that let's see, Mark, did you sell your truck, or did somebody sell your truck for you, and they keep bringing it up and talking about it?
So the truck has never actually been for sale. Eric in our social media department, he's one of my good buddies here, but he just keeps putting it up for sale. And apparently a social media post with a hand or whatever digitally drawn red circle around it for sale constitutes the truck is for sale. Hey, it is a really nice truck. I love the truck. He's always trying to paint a picture like I don't know. It's a great truck. He's always tagging Ford. I'm like, at Ford, I love my truck. It's been a great truck. So, actually, it is super funny though. Like, I crack up every time he does it. But,
oh man, I die laughing because he brings it up all the time. I'm an F-150 guy myself. I've got an F-150 sitting out in front right now. So I'm with you, man. Ford all the way. That's where it's at. So I die laughing. And so what I'm saying for people, if you see posts about the Eric post about Mark's truck for sale, that's who I'm talking to today, just to kind of put a face with the name. Also, if you guys haven't checked out Vortex's one of you guys' latest videos on YouTube, you guys did a hunt in Wyoming, and actually, Mark, I know we're going to kind of get into the weeds here just from the beginning, but tell us a little bit about what you guys did there.
So that was a real, man. You hit on a lot of really important things there, or I think they're important. Number one,
Yeah,
you're talking about the company side of things, and we're super blessed here. I mean, it really it's a family owned and operated company, and it's cool that you see kind of that shine through on the customer side, like we were talking about. Very customer focused, but
yeah, definitely.
that also it's internal as well, and so as an employee here, we just see the benefits of that. That the Hamiltons are just an amazing family. I mean, they care about their employees immensely. It is a family environment. And then, you see, Eric and the social team in those posts. And so we have a lot of fun here as well. And just that family atmosphere just shines through all the time. And, it's kind of like, it's like you're working with a bunch of, your brothers and sisters here and generally having a pretty darn good time, working hard, but having fun at the same time. But, so yes, the antelope hunt. So that was a cool project. Again, talking about being a little bit more on the content side of things here. So Jim and I, that's who I co-host our podcast with. It really kind of a single errant comment at the tail end of one of our podcasts kind of sparked this idea that we need to wildcat a cartridge. And so, since Jim and I know nothing about wildcatting, we enlisted the help of our in-house expert, Ryan Muckenhern, who we lean on for a lot of factual information. Jim and I can add the color, Ryan gives the facts. So, so we essentially, Ryan, we created this cartridge, and we're fortunate here as well, because we have different resources at our disposal. 3D printers. We've got an amazing engineering department that can bring a drawing from a napkin to life, and one thing led to another, and we wildcatted this cartridge that we called the 65 BC. So which BC actually unofficially stands for bitch cat. So
I love it.
If you go back into deep into the podcast archive, you can kind of see the impetus for that. But so. And all this kind of led up. Well, once we kind of developed it and got it going, and I guess we kind of decided, well, we're going to need to test this at some point in time. So we decided late in the game to try and pick up some antelope doe tags, and so we were successful in doing that. And I guess I won't super crazy spoiler alert if you want to check out some of that content, but it's all live on our page. It was a super fun hunt. As far as antelope doe hunting goes, it was pretty skinny. The public access was minimal, and there was a lot of folks out there. So it's kind of you don't picture Wyoming being oh man, I'm trying to go get an antelope doe. This is going to be a challenging hunt. But it was like I said, it was a fun hunt. It was a mellow hunt. We tested the 65 BC in the field, and I'll say it performed quite well.
Yeah, if you guys haven't seen that video, yeah, go check out that video. In fact, for those that are listening, I mean, you guys kind of got to relive the whole process. It's really kind of interesting, like Mark just said. You kind of go back in the podcast. And by the way, the podcast for Vortex is the Vortex Nation podcast. Make sure you guys subscribe to that. But go back in that podcast, kind of listen to how this whole thing developed. It's kind of a fun story. I got into it quite a bit, and so when the video finally came out, man, I was stoked to see you guys shooting the gun, but also, I mean, there's a lot to that video. So for you guys that haven't checked it out, go check it out. And again, that puts a face with a name for Mark, and yeah, Jim's on there as well, who co-hosts the podcast with Mark. But so cool, love the content that you guys are putting out. So, well, cool, Mark. Well,
appreciate it.
Yeah, my pleasure. Well, let's jump into it. Go ahead.
I'm totally interrupting, but
Go ahead.
I will add one more thing. We are at the infancy of developing this cartridge right now, so we're just kind of, like I said, it's a wildcat, and we're playing with it. But within a couple days, we got it going. I think 30 and change, and I'd say this, it's loaded down quite a bit. We didn't want to blow ourselves up. I think that's actually even in the title.
Yeah.
Low development and not blowing ourselves up, something like that. So we've got hopefully a lot of room to grow with it. We're going to be tinkering with it quite a bit here in the near future. And so, I guess I'll tease out, stay tuned for, more from the 65 BC, development side.
Dude, you guys are teasing us like crazy with that. I don't know. I think Eric keeps putting it in the social media, but Vortex is not mass producing this cartridge, and then he'll put yet. It's like, wait a second, what's going on?
Yeah, I'll put that into the anything is possible category, but right now we're just having a heck of a lot of fun with it.
Oh man, it looks like a lot of fun. Something that I've never even thought about, doing that wildcatting. And mainly because I'm just not as smart as Ryan and wouldn't even know where to begin. But well, as smart as all three of you guys. I know you guys give Ryan a lot of credit on that, but you and Jim definitely contribute a lot to that as well. So you guys are all very intelligent dudes.
It's well, appreciate you. I mean, your flattery doesn't go unnoticed. You can be expecting a Christmas present this year. But,
Yes.
It really is. It really is a super cool process, and it is fascinating. And kind of once you get some of the terminology down, which it's all been a complete learning process. But it really is interesting, and at the minimum, even if you just listen to it, maybe it's not something you're ever going to do, or it is something that maybe you've been thinking about doing. Just what you gain in knowledge, even if from how these your factory ammo is going together, or whatever, or why it works, or why this bullet is better than that bullet from a construction standpoint, or a profile standpoint. There's just man, there's a lot that goes into it.
Yeah.
If you're just buying your box of ammo off the shelf and not thinking any more about it, there's a lot of cool stuff in there. So check it out.
The thing is, like, especially with that cartridge that you guys are doing, I know I'm going to keep going on this. That that 6.5 platform right now is such a popular platform, and for good reason. I mean, I'm into reloading. I reload all my own ammunition and things like that, and so I have learned a lot from you guys just on different ballistics and things like that. And I had never really. I mean, you always want more guns, right? But so I never really thought, oh man, I want a 6.5 because I've got other guns that are comparable to it. But as you guys started producing this, I mean, like you said, you guys are already 30 and change. I mean, this thing has some potential to really do some amazing things. So I love that that's not the end of it for you guys. I love that you guys are still going to continue to work on this cartridge and develop it. And honestly, Mark, I think it could be pretty dang cool. I mean, it is cool right now, but it could be pretty amazing when you guys are done.
Yeah, and there's a lot of stuff we don't know, right?
Yeah.
But also, like, the stuff we don't know that's the exciting part. And I'm not, by any means dogging on factory ammo, because I'm pretty much a factory ammo guy by and large, and there's so many good ammo manufacturers making just super high performing, efficient ammunition out there. But like we keep saying, kind of beating a dead horse here, but it's been a fun project, and it'll be fun to continue to work on.
Yeah, you guys got a lot of fun stuff going on there at Vortex right now. I mean, I'm giving like a bunch of shameless plugs here, but I mean that new cartridge, which is cool. I look forward to what the future holds there. You guys with the Vortex the Vortex wear, the new apparel lineup. I got a shipment of that stuff just the other day. It was absolutely fantastic. Such cool stuff. And then new products that you guys have coming out in 2021. I love that about Vortex. You guys are always developing, improving. You guys put out some amazing products, and you still find ways to improve them. And so really that's what I want to spend the majority of our time today talking about, is just some of these new products. Obviously we're recording this prior to the release date of some of these products, but we won't release a podcast until after that date. So I'd like to talk through a few of these new products if you're cool with that.
Yeah, absolutely, man. No, I mean, we're super pumped about them, and a lot of these products, they've been in work for several years, right? So it's kind of like it's almost like having a baby. You've had this like crazy incubation period, and you're getting bits and pieces from the product development team, and more information, and then we've got a first sample, and then all of a sudden it's like, oh boy, here's the big day. So that big day is coming up, and yeah, we're super jacked up, really excited about a lot of this new stuff.
Yeah, you guys got some cool stuff. I'm so stoked for 2021. Not only to get away from 2020 because it's been a hell of a year, but but also looking forward to what you guys have coming out. So I know there's future things, and we won't talk about those at this point. Hopefully, I can get you on another podcast at some point. But the products that release on January 7th is kind of the ones that I want to start with, and I don't know, that date may move between now and then, but we're going to tentatively plan on that being the date. And one of the biggest things, so I use Vortex. Pretty much everything that I use is Vortex, including my tripod. Um, and it's a great tripod. Don't get me wrong, Mark. I'm not going to talk bad about the tripod, but I've always thought, oh man, there's some things that we can improve on this. And man, when you guys came out, when we started talking about these new tripods that you guys have coming out, I mean, that's where I was like, holy crap! Like, I swear you guys are like listening to my prayers or something. I mean, it was it just blew my mind. And so I want to talk through some of these new tripods that you guys have coming out. You have four coming out, is that right?
Yeah. So I mean, and we've historically we've had tripods in the lineup, and like you said, they're good tripods. There's nothing wrong with them. They're good, solid tripods. They work really well. But there was definitely room to improve, and so I'm in the same boat as you. Super pumped about this this new lineup of tripods. Really,
Yeah.
it's like we didn't really revise model. I mean, we revamped the operation. Like, these are brand new, 100% new tripods, new heads, new leg systems, and I mean, it's built for a variety of user groups, depending on how you want to hunt, where you want to hunt. Are you a competitive shooter? We got some good ones here for sure.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Let's go through them one by one. And historic, or what I have actually sitting right there behind me, I have the GT Pro Vortex tripod. And
Yeah.
I think the newer one that's kind of similar to that one is the High Country 2. Like I said, somewhat similar. So tell us a little bit about that tripod and like who it's for.
So the High Country 2 is going to be a great tripod, and like you said, if a person is familiar with the Pro GT or has a Pro GT, there's going to be some similarities, but definitely some differences as well. So it's got an aluminum leg system on this guy. It's got lever lock legs, which people definitely tend to gravitate between a twist lock leg or a lever lock leg. This one has lever lock leg. It's got a split center column. And probably, one of the most notable things, though, and this is going to be common actually throughout several of the new tripods here, is we've got an all-new two-way pan head. It's very smooth, very fluid. It's just a single turn to activate, kind of the up, down, left, right with the handle. It's a very small, I say small, but I guess I'd kind of describe it as, it's like a small, petite handle, but it's also the perfect size, whether, you're operating a spotting scope or tripod glassing, which is probably one of my favorite things to do in life. So,
Likewise.
It's got a max load capacity of 22 pounds, and it's only coming in at 4 pounds. So not a giant, you're not a giant, I guess, you're not bringing a boat anchor with you with this guy. And it's going to retail though for about $199. So give or take, at street price, you're going to see it about $199. So an excellent, economical, high performing tripod, I guess that's kind of where I'd throw that guy.
When I think a lot of people will see or hear you say the aluminum tripod and think, oh, it's going to be too heavy for me. So I'm glad that you pointed that out. That's one thing that really caught my attention, was that it's only 4 pounds. Like you said, you're not hauling around an anchor with an aluminum tripod, and like you said, economical. I think for most people, it's really going to do the job. I mean, it's going to do a great job at it. Like I said, people that are used to the Pro GT, like, I think this will fit very comfortably for them.
Yeah, and if you need a flyweight tripod, and we'll get to that model. Yeah. This one may not be the one for you, but if you're not lugging it a complete incredible distances, if it's going to, come out of the truck, more than it's going to go in the backpack, maybe you prefer lever locks over a twist lock. It might be one of those things where, heck, you might have, some of these, more expensive tripods, but maybe this one is just a better fit for you. So it really is just a solid tripod.
I was thinking about it, so I had two very different hunts this year. My elk hunt was a backpack hunt. We used llamas. We were very limited on weight. And so that one is probably leaning towards the tripods that we're going to talk about. My deer hunt this year, we drove around in trucks, and we would drive to a certain point where we could glass a long ways, maybe hike, 100 yards, 200 yards, and just sit there and glass. And that's where this tripod, I think, like I said, and still, even at 4 pounds, I don't think that this is a heavy tripod, guys. I mean, that's still very light, but for that kind of hunt, it's perfect for it, especially if you like the lever lock kind of a tripod. So let's jump into the lighter one, and actually I have this one sitting here right now, and I'm super excited to get testing this thing and put it to work. And that's the Summit Carbon 2 tripod, and I think it's more that, like you talked about, the flyweight tripod for backpackers, things like that. Is that correct?
It is, I mean, and I guess, if I was going to gravitate towards one just for my personal style of hunting and what I like to do, this is probably going to be it. So, I mean, it's compact, it's lightweight, it's streamlined. It's got incredibly durable and functional twist lock legs. Any I guess backpack that's, designed to essentially carry a tripod or has a tripod pocket, this tripod's going to fit in it. I mean, it is a very lightweight tripod, and some of the coolest things about it, it's got carbon fiber legs, right? So that's one thing that adds to its lightweight design. That carbon fiber is going to be a little bit, I guess, quote, like warmer to the touch if you're carrying it on a cold day. It kind of it dampens quicker, right? So if you bang it on something, it's not going to maybe make that metallic sound, and it's going to settle in quicker because of that carbon fiber construction as well. So whether it's a wind vibration or you bump it or whatever, that carbon just settles quicker. So you're going to get less image shake, I guess, if while you're looking through your optics. Same two-way pan head though as the other one. So all the same features, and I will add, which I should have said previously, Arctis Swiss compatible. So that's a really big deal. That's a common plate. It's common functionality. When people they have the the Arctis Swiss rails on their rifles and things like that. So it's really nice to, number one, have such a super solid mounting system, but then so many other things share that as well, from from the photography world to the rifle world to the hunting world. It just really works well.
So speaking of that, I had a question come up. One of my partners, actually, eHunter, asked me this question. So we've had the quick release Vortex mount. Will that still work on these new tripods?
So now, which one are you talking about there?
Oh, what is it called? It's oh my goodness, I can't even think of what it's called. Let me look here. It's the oh goodness gracious. Let me look it up here real quick.
I mean, I guess probably the short answer is if you've got like the plate from a different tripod, if it's not an Arctis Swiss, footprint, then it's not. Then it won't work. Yeah.
Then it won't work. Okay. No, it is the Vortex. Yeah, that's exactly what it is. And I always, how do you say that? Arctis Swiss? Is that how you say it?
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay, so it is that plate. So that'll still work. I mean, that's not going to change from before. Those will still work on these new tripods.
If it's an Arctis Swiss, then yeah. Yep.
Okay. All right. I didn't know that name, so that's new to me.
So, and that's one thing, like I said, our previous tripods, they're great tripods, but you didn't have that commonality between plates. So if you had a Summit SS, that plate was going to be different than the Pro GT, And as we go through some of these, a person might have multiple tripods, right? You might have your backpacking tripod, but you might have, oh man, on these types of hunts, I am doing a lot of long distance glassing from the pickup. A heavier tripod is actually an asset because it's inherently going to be a little bit more stable. Maybe I can get it to a standing height, which is, what I'll be doing, on this type of hunt. But now I need two types of plates, right? And so, if you have two tripods, and heaven forbid, but it does happen, you lose a plate, well, you can just grab one from your other one and go. So,
right.
A lot of just a lot of user friendliness there, in my opinion.
Yeah, definitely. Well, back to the Summit. I think the one thing that really caught my eye when I first saw it, I love the what's it called? The where you twist it, twist lock. Is that what it's called?
Yeah, the twist lock leg.
Twist lock legs, yeah, because they were some of those twist locks are kind of hard to use. Like the twists were very easy to work. They're kind of they're larger, so they're easier to grab. Like like you said, if you've got cold hands, things like that. I feel like it's going to work out very well. And like you had said when we first started talking about it, I think this one's very tailored to me. 2.5 pounds still has well, actually, I should ask you. It still has the 22 pound max load capacity, same as the other ones, right?
Yep. Mm-hmm. Yep.
Okay.
So, and yeah, people are probably thinking, well, you're talking about this a lightweight tripod, and you hit the nail on the head. Is probably what most people want to know the whole time. 2.5 pounds, yeah, and so extremely, extremely lightweight. When you do have the legs pushed all the way in, it's extremely short. Like we're talking about, you fit about just in any pocket, or some guys will throw a leg through the webbing, on the exterior of their pack, and yeah, it's a solid tripod for sure.
Yeah, awesome. And still be able to hold your big glass, whatever you glass with. I still think it's going to hold your big BTX or your big 18s, your big whatever you use out there for heavy glass. My Razor spotting scope. Not that it's that heavy, but that's a big piece of glass. So this will still mount up on that, still be nice and solid. I think this would be a great tripod for most everybody. I guess the one question I have for you, Mark, you talked about the price point on our last one. What's the price point on this Summit Carbon 2?
So, I mean, this is going to be right around, that 400 mark. And like I said, depending on what retailer you find it at, you may have a little bit of give and take there. But, the MAP on it's going to be right at $399.99. And so for what you're getting, it's definitely, a pretty darn good price in my opinion. But the other thing actually of note though, right, is like, all these tripods fill a little bit of a niche. And so if you're a person that's maybe a little bit taller or and you like to glass from a standing height, this may not be the version for you. So this has a max height of 53.3 inches. So for me, like I sit most of the time, whether I'm using a spotting scope or I'm tripod glassing with binoculars, I'm generally in a sitting position. So I sacrifice some of that overall height to save the weight and have a little bit more compact tripod. A lot of people do need the glass from that standing position, and that could be terrain based or something like that, where you're like, man, I just got to look over all this brush. Like if I'm not standing, I can't see over it, which is the point of glassing, right? So definitely keep that in mind. I think I'm 5'10", and I'd be hard pressed, pretty average height. I'd be hard pressed to glass from a standing position with this thing, but sitting, kneeling, things like that, you'll be good to go.
Yeah, I got a little chair that I usually glass from a little stool, I guess, that folds up, little lightweight thing, and that's what I like to do, is just sit on that. You can sit there for days glassing if you can sit down. But that's a good point, though. I mean, there are a lot of people, and I admit there's a lot of times that I will spend standing and glassing, and I thought about that with this Summit when I pulled it out, that it would be hard to, if that's what I was going to do. The majority of my glassing is standing, and so great segue into kind of our next one, which is the Ridgeview carbon tripod. I think that one is more fitted towards the people that are going to stand and glass. Is that right?
Yeah, you're going to have a little more versatility with it probably. And take all the things that we talked about with the Summit Carbon 2 and add some length, I guess. That's how I'd best describe the Ridgeview. So you got a max height with that guy of 73.8, a min height of 8.3 inches. And you might say, oh, well, that doesn't make any sense, right? Those leg sections are a lot longer than 8.3 inches. But with all these tripods, you've got adjustable leg angles too, so you can really get them really low to the ground or pretty darn high depending on the model. So you can definitely do about just anything you want with this tripod. It's gonna do a really nice job.
With that though, it's going to come in at a little bit heavier. Is that right? Since it does have a little bit. I mean, it would make sense in my mind that it'd be a little bit heavier.
So that's going to be, I guess the quote compromise here, right? So the leg sections are a little bit longer, and it's coming in at 3.2 pounds versus the 2.5. So
that's still so light.
It is. So it's kind of hard to be like, oh, giant penalty, because that's not,
No.
But depending on what you're doing, one of those ought to fit your hunting needs. That's for sure.
Awesome. Same load capacity on that one, the 22 pounds.
Yep. Same on that one. Yep.
Okay. As I'm thinking about it, I mean, that one actually may be tailored towards me as well, because I could sit with that one and I could stand. Western hunting, there you hit it right on the head. Sometimes you do have to stand looking over. I guess not even Western hunting. That's all hunting. You got to stand and look over brush. You hop out of the truck. You're standing there looking. So I don't know. This one may be more tailored to me. I'm excited to try both of them out, though. I think they're going to be amazing. I love getting into the carbon game. It makes these things so light. I love the twist to tighten. All those things that you guys have come out with these new tripods is just, I don't know. As I've used my Pro GT, I thought, okay, I love the carbon, so it's not so dang cold. Plus, it's lighter. Just these few things that I kept thinking about, and I swear you guys hit them right on the head with these new ones. And we do have one more that I wanted to touch on before we get off the tripods, and this one is definitely a little bit different than the other ones, at least in how I view it. Maybe you can tell me a little bit more, and our listeners a little bit more. But it's the Radiant carbon. I think you guys are kind of going at a little bit different audience with this one. Is that right?
So yeah, you can definitely do a lot of stuff with the new Radiant carbon tripod, but it really is purpose built for shooting. Tripod shooting, whether it's competition, or I know even a lot of outfitters are running tripods for clients now, because it is just such an amazingly stable platform for executing, precision shots. I think once you do it, you kind of get hooked. So the Radiant carbon, again, carbon fiber leg set, twist lock legs. We got two different head options here. So one is a ball head, and I guess I'll talk a little bit about that one first. But it's got independent pan movement, tension control, an integrated level, 45 degrees of tilt, and notches for up to 90 degrees. So you've got tons of travel. So if you're using it to take high angle shots, that's going to be something that you're going to want to consider, right? Because you definitely are able to manipulate it at such high degrees of angle. It's actually got a I guess you'd say like 360 degrees of hash mark references around, I guess, what I'll call like the collar of the tripod, if you will. And I'd say that's probably more for a person who is maybe in more of a tactical scenario. Maybe they know they need to be watching two primary areas that they may need to engage a target, so they can be like, okay, well this window is at X degrees, and maybe this egress or whatever is at X degrees. Maybe it's under the cover of darkness. Maybe you're using night vision, things like that. And so rather than having to look through your optic to find that, you can quick reference those indicators there and get back to those primary places that you're trying to observe there. So really, really cool, feature-rich tripod. If you go on the website or you see one in the store, they look super beefy because they are super beefy. I mean, they're incredibly stable. They're bigger, robust tripods, right? But on the flip side, though, I think they're deceiving when you start looking at their weight numbers. So when you look at the ball head, that's going to be coming in at 7.3 pounds, and the leveling head is 6.1, which is definitely, I guess, considerably more than the other options in the lineup, but this is definitely purpose-built for a different application. And I think, like I said, when you look at it, I think you'll be like, oh, I'm surprised it's actually only weighs that much. The other head option is a leveling head, and this is almost like, it's kind of got a more of a twist lock engage. I probably didn't describe that very well, but it's kind of like a single handle that goes, picture like replacing your center column with a handle that you twist to, either have the tripod be able to move and manipulate and then tighten it back up with a single turn. So very, very user-friendly, very, very fast, and definitely, if you're shooting off a tripod, that's a good way to go.
I've never shot off of a tripod, and when I first heard about this, it really intrigued me. Just because, like you said, there's a lot of I've got friends that guide a lot, and this is what they have for their clients is a tripod for them to shoot from, because it's pretty dang solid. You can get a pretty good shot off with one of those tripods, and so it's kind of got me intrigued that I kind of want to try it now. But as I looked at my tripod and other tripods that are around. I'm like, I don't know that, if I'm shooting my 7 mag off of one of those, I don't know how that's gonna go, But like you said, this one is a lot beefier. That's still pretty light to me, even with the ball head at 7. I think you said 7.3 pounds. That's still a pretty dang light shooting tripod, and I guess you guys achieve that with the carbon legs. It does have carbon legs, is that right? I guess
it does, yeah. So you got carbon leg set, intelligent design there, and yeah, I mean, just an amazingly stable platform, and we were podcasting with Adam in the office, and he does a lot of our military LE sales. And he used a term, we were talking about a different product, but he called it legal cheating. And I'm like, that's what shooting off a tripod is.
Yes.
It's legal cheating. I mean, your level of stability and just rock solid, and your confidence is through the roof. And, obviously a lot of competitive shooters, PRS shooters and things like that, they're using tripods a lot. For different stages and things like that, but it definitely crosses over into a lot of other realms of the shooting sports. That's for sure.
Oh yeah, you hit it right on the head with the confidence, and I think that's why a lot of the guides are using them nowadays, is because it just gives that person that confidence. The old days of resting on your knee or laying down. I mean, I can still get pretty dang stable laying down, especially if I got backs to shoot from. That's how I normally shoot. But when you're out in the environment and hunting, very rarely do you get that kind of shot. Most of the time you sit down on your butt and you're shooting off your knees or something like that. And so, but man, to have the opportunity like this, that's awesome. One question I was going to ask you about it, Mark, I talked about my 7 mag. It's not that heavy of a gun, but there are some pretty heavy guns out there. How big a gun can you put on this? Like, what's the weight capacity on it?
How big a gun you got, buddy?
How big a boy are you?
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, you're looking at, and there's definitely people who are using tripods to shoot. Oftentimes they are shooting a heavier gun. 16, 17. Even guns in the 20s, right?
Yeah.
Probably even bigger. But so
yeah,
on the ball head, you got a max load of 55 pounds. And then on the leveling head, you got a max load of 44. So definitely bigger than any gun I'm probably going to put on.
Oh yeah, we ain't there's nobody touching that.
No.
Wow, 55 pounds. That's amazing.
So yeah, you can, and I'm not gonna recommend this, right? But we're doing some, I guess I'll call it informal testing, where Jim, who we talked about earlier, essentially climbed on it like it was some sort of playground apparatus, and it didn't budge. Like, it held up just fine. So they're pretty sturdy and robust tripods for sure.
I can't wait to get my hands on one just to see it, just to try it out. That's amazing, awesome.
Yeah.
Awesome. What?
And of course I always try to twist anything, to hunting, right? Because that's just what I'm into. But
yeah.
Man, I just see, if you're the type of person where you're hunting from a ground blind, or maybe you've got, a larger elevated box blind, maybe you're not even going that far. Maybe you are hiking in, but maybe you're only going a couple 100 yards or something like that, and you're just going to be hunting from the ground, not in a blind. Man, I mean, talk about an asset, and we're talking about, just rock solid and confidence when you break that shot that bullet's going to go where you want it to go. I'd think about it.
Yeah, absolutely. There's probably so many applications for all these tripods. I mean, this is a hunting podcast, and you're like me. We always bring everything back to hunting. But man, I think for all these tripods, you can use them for photography, bird watching, for really whatever you want to use them for, honestly.
For sure. No doubt, and obviously, hopefully, people haven't tuned out, obviously talking about tripods with a pretty high level of excitement here, because I am really excited about them.
I am too.
Like on the surface, yeah, it's got 3 legs. You put stuff on it. It's like,
no. If you're into hunting, I think most people nowadays are in. That's how most people hunt, is glassing, and yeah, I think it's okay to be excited about tripods. I guess we could talk about something a little bit more exciting, and this the next product I want to talk about is something that there's a lot to this, and I think you and I will probably barely touch what this thing can do, because this is a pretty amazing product. I'm talking about the Fury HD 5000. It is an amazing product. It's probably what a lot of people are going to get excited about. So let's jump into that. So For those who don't know, the Fury HD 5000, actually it's the 5000 AB, and maybe you can explain the AB to us, Mark, but it's a range-finding binocular. So tell us a little bit about that one, Mark.
So yeah, just how you were leading into that one, I'm like, I know exactly what product is coming up next. So yeah, it's the Fury HD 5000 AB. Now, folks may be familiar with the Fury HD 5000, which was kind of our first foray into the ranging binocular market. A phenomenal piece optically. It does really, really well. As the name implies, it ranges to 5,000 yards, super accurate. Just a really, really solid range-finding binocular. So this one, we added a little bit to the name, and so that AB stands for Applied Ballistics. So this is a ranging rangefinder with ballistics, and it's got those custom AB curves downloaded into the unit. So essentially, all the information is in the engine of this thing. We've got the Fury app that it's going to connect to. It's Bluetooth compatible. It pairs with third-party devices, so it's going to pair with your Kestrels. It's going to pair with your Garmin devices that have applied ballistics. But what it's going to do, it's like, okay, it does all these things. What's it going to do for you? What's it going to do for you, the shooter? What's it going to do for you, the hunter? And really, once you get this thing dialed, it's going to give you customized drops to the load that you're pushing through your rifle. With taking into consideration like real-time atmospheric. So it's got onboard sensors for your temperature, pressure, things like that. So you are literally getting a to-the-yard ballistic readout that's going to tell you exactly what you need to dial to execute that shot and get it on target.
Wow, that's a lot in a binocular. I'm even going back to just, this is a binocular. It's a 10 by 42, I believe. At least that's what the last one was. Is this still a 10 by 42 binocular?
So yeah. On top of that, it's a 10 by 42 binocular. So let's not forget that.
Yeah.
So it's a lot of things in one, and just your speed with it. For years, I've taken dope charts to my stock, and by and large, that's worked pretty darn good, right? But, it can be a little bit slow. Oftentimes I find I'm, double checking. I'm like, yep, that's, looks like a spreadsheet down there. And you're in the heat of battle trying to, maybe you got a critter on the opposite side of a canyon, which is a scenario I've been in before. And I've actually missed opportunities because it just wasn't fast enough. And with a unit like this, I definitely would have been able to get that ballistic reading, known the correction that I needed to dial, and break a shot in time. And I can think of actually another scenario where I missed, where again, it's like tolerance stacking, right? Like, okay, is your dope on? Maybe your dope is a little bit off, or maybe it's maybe your dope chart is in 50-yard increments and not to the yard. Maybe it's 50 degrees colder than what you created that dope chart originally for. So you got all these tolerances that are stacking up, right? Which can ultimately, you stack enough on top of one another, can result in a miss. And this is just going to really help give you the most accurate correction that you need to dial possible. It really is an amazing unit. Like I said, you got those custom AB curves, which are just, super, super accurate. And it's, oh man, it's cool. Like I said, we can't even really scratch the surface.
Well, it really simplifies the process. I'm thinking myself when I'm out hunting, I've got my 10 by 42s, my Razor UHDs on my chest. When I see an animal, what's the first thing I do? I grab my binoculars and pull it up and look at it. If I'm looking at it and I can click that button, I get range, I get ballistics, and it's calculating all this stuff for me. It's calculating wind. This thing does amazing things. But if I could bring, as part of that process, bringing my binoculars up, I'm sitting here doing it with my hands. It's kind of ridiculous, but bring my binoculars up, range it, have the ballistics, dial it up. It simplifies that process. It hurries up that process so that you can make that shot quicker, better, more efficient. It really does. It checks all the boxes. If folks haven't, because I'm just thinking about, my prior hunting experiences, because I'll bring my binoculars up, I'll look at the animal. Yes, that's something I want to go after, or yes, I want to shoot that. Put my binoculars down, grab my rangefinder, pull it up. okay, it's this range. Pull out my phone. Okay, where's my dope at? I mean, there's a lot you have to do to finally pull that trigger, and this
Uh,
simplifies all that. It does it all at once.
no, it really does simplify it. It just makes you more efficient during those critical moments, right? And another thing to bring up is like, we're talking, this thing ranges, at its max to 5,000 yards on deer and things like that. You're looking about 1,600 yards, something like that,
Hmm.
or in that range. But the wind, right? When you start shooting at some of these more extended ranges, the wind, that's what gets to be like, probably that's like the unknown. Like that's the variable that's like probably the hardest to account for, right? And so we have these devices like Kestrels with Bluetooth and things like that that can really help us nail down what that wind reading is. And so with the new Fury HD 5000 AB, it actually has two wind modes, right? So you can manually enter wind speed and direction with the full crosswind mode, and that's going to be kind of like more of like a right, a full right to left or left to right. And then it's also got what we call our wind bearing capture mode, and when you do that, you can essentially the unit has an onboard compass, right? And so you essentially use that compass to capture the direction of the wind, and now that's going to give you an even finer tuned wind
Jeez.
reading of what you need to hold or dial, because it's taking into account the direction of the wind. So you can say like, oh, well, the wind might be. This is an extreme scenario. The wind might be rolling at 20 miles an hour, but maybe it's directly behind you, right? Or maybe it's just quartering, right? Well, that's going to give you a different wind hold than if it's a full value right to left, if that makes sense.
Yeah, yeah, definitely. Wow. So you just point it in that direction, hit a button, and it starts computing all of that,
Pretty much,
basically.
pretty much, yeah.
Wow. Wow. It's sad our binoculars are smarter than we are. It's unreal.
that that is another true statement. Yeah, no, it's pretty cool, and if you're into long range shooting or want to extend your effective range, it's definitely one worth looking at. I've gotten to use it on a couple different hunts here and have been really really impressed by it.
Yeah, I look forward to getting my hands on it. For those that are interested in this, what's the price point going to be on a pair of those?
So again, give or take, but you're going to see that right about $1,500.
1500. Okay. That's still, I mean, oh goodness, you think about a pair of binoculars. If you're gonna go buy a pair of binoculars, you're gonna go buy a rangefinder. I mean, just that's a pretty dang good deal. If you're gonna go do all that, well, you might as well go get some of these Fury HD 5000 ABs. I mean, that's again simplifies the process, and it actually probably gonna save you money in the long run. So very
Yeah, I
cool.
mean, it really could, and for a person that goes like, well, maybe maybe I bow and I rifle hunt. You can definitely keep it in more, I guess like a more standard mode, right, where it's just
Hmm.
going to work like essentially like the Fury HD 5000, right? So it's just going to be like essentially in that kind of range finding binocular mode, but a lot of additional features at the same time.
Wow, wow, absolutely amazing. I cannot wait to get my hands on that. Um, that's gonna be a lot of fun. A lot of fun. All right, Mark. Well, a couple of other ones I want to touch on before I let you go. A couple of ones that are going to be coming out and will be out by the time this podcast is released. And I really like these just because I do shoot AR-15s. Love shooting them. They're a lot of fun. In fact, I have the old version of one of these scopes, but you guys are coming out with a new Spark, which I believe is a solar-powered one, and then also a new Spitfire Gen 2. So let's chat a little bit about those. Let's start with the Spark first. Kind of talk about that, what its applications are, and some of the cool things. Obviously, the solar is really cool.
It is, man. So yeah, as the name implies, it's got a solar panel built into the top of it. It's like essentially flush with almost like I'd call it like a ramped portion. So it doesn't stick out or anything like that. So this is a very sleek, very streamlined optic, and it's got that solar panel in it. So it's solar and battery powered. So it's not solely solar or battery powered. The other cool thing is the solar panel doesn't power the battery. So if you have enough ambient light, you don't actually even need to be outside. If you have enough ambient light, I should say, you the unit will operate off of that. And then if you don't, boom, it's going to automatically switch over to the battery. So it's smart enough to know and read the situation. It's going to go, yep, I'm going to run off this power source, or I'm going to run off of that power source. LEDs these days, I mean, they're so efficient that I mean, you're looking at up to 150,000 hours of battery life. You know, like I said, give or take. I mean, these are all estimates, but that's using solar and batteries. So I'd call that like kind of like an average use. You know, you're not always in, you know, you don't always have enough ambient light. You're not always in complete darkness. You know, it's kind of like that middle ground there. It's also another really cool feature is it's motion activation capable, right? And so I guess the qualifier there is because let's say it's got an automatic 14-hour shut-off, right? So you turn the unit on, you leave it on for 14 hours, boom, that auto shut-off engages, the unit turns off, right? When you go to pick up your firearm, boom, that's going to engage the light, it's going to come back on. So that's when that motion activation capable feature will engage. If you actually power the unit off, then that's going to disengage that. So something to keep in mind there, but a really, really cool feature. And you know, I mean, if you are running it, you know, and you leave it off, it's like, you know, it's going to be ready to go next time you need it. You know, that 14 hours is nice because, you know, you look at a standard duty shift and then, you know, add on, you know, tack on, I guess, a couple extra hours to the end of that in case something went down at the end of your shift or something like that. Just a really, really cool red dot. Red dots are so popular, like you're saying, for that AR-15 platform. It's got left side, you know, power controls, brightness controls that are essentially flush with the optics. So again, nothing sticking out there. And even the windage and elevation are essentially recessed, right? So they're exposed but recessed, so you can get at them whenever you need to get at them. But they're super flush. They're not going to adjust unless you want to adjust them and you know, actively say, I need to adjust this optic, you know, then you're going to be able to make those adjustments. But again, just super, super flush in the unit. It's got our multi-height mounting system with, you know, common footprint there. So you can mount it low if you did want to put it on a shotgun or something like that, or at that, you know, kind of typical AR-15 height. So I think I maybe nailed it, but
yeah,
it's a cool. 2 MOA dot, so which is probably my favorite dot size actually. So
yeah, it's the perfect size right there. Man, that's cool. You nailed that right on the head. And you know, as you're talking, so I've got the old version of the Spitfire, and we'll talk about the new one here in just a minute. And I'm just thinking, you know, I don't know the last time I changed the batteries in that, and I probably ought to go click it and make sure that it still turns on. And having that knowledge of the 150,000 hours of battery life, that's like, I don't know what that is, like 15 years of battery life if you're using the solar and battery. I mean, that's comforting knowing that you never really have to, honestly, you never have to worry about it not turning on. And so
you know, and these are all estimates. They're kind of average use, you know, like this will, you know, a lot of these things will be dictated on, like, are you on max brightness all the time? Are you on mid brightness? Are you somewhere in the middle, you know? So, but I guess the bottom line is you got a ton of battery life there. I think they're saying somewhere around like 60,000 for like just the battery even. So a lot of battery life there.
Wow. That's amazing. Goodness gracious. So let's chat about the Spitfire, and then I'll let you go. I've been taking up your whole day here. But like I said, I've got the old version of the Spitfire. Love that. I love that scope. It's on my AR right now. I've got it with a magnifier on it. I mean, it's just a cool scope. It works well for what I like to do with my AR, which is pretty much everything. I like shooting close range. I like shooting a little bit further out there, whether it's, you know, just at targets or at bottles or whatever. So what's new about the Spitfire? I think it's Spitfire HD Gen 2, right? What's new about it?
Man, like you said, I mean, we've had prism-based scopes. You know, we've had the Spitfires, the 3X and the 1X Spitfire. What's new with these guys? I'd kind of say everything. You know, the only thing that really remained the same is that it's a prism-based optical system and the Spitfire nomenclature. So the new ones, we've got a 3X and a 5X. That prism-based design has always allowed you to create a very, short, compact, lightweight optic. And these, I guess I'd say, are even shorter. So it's like all those great attributes, and they've been exaggerated in these models. So really, really compact, excellent optics. They have an HD optical system. They're super rugged. Kind of some similar form factor in a couple ways to the Spark that we're talking about. You got left side button controls. It's got that same multi-height mount system, and just really, really versatile optics. And another cool thing with the Spitfire, or a prism-based optic here, is you're going to have a glass-etched reticle, right? So you're allowed to have a more elaborate reticle with more data, more hold points. The other nice thing is you always have a reticle, right? So it is an illuminated optic. You can illuminate it and engage the illumination, but you don't have to have that reticle. So you always have a point of aim, no matter if you have the illumination engaged or not. It's got our new AR-BDC4 reticle, which is a really, really cool reticle. It's optimized for the 5.56, which is, I'd say probably one of the more common cartridges that guys are, pushing out of their ARs. Golly, man, just a lot going on there. And in the 5X version, I will add that if you want, you can mount like an open top red dot to the top of that. So you kind of get that 5X to engage kind of those medium to longer range targets. If you still want that red dot functionality, you can mount one of those on top and use that, kind of use those optics in tandem, if you will. So really, really cool optics.
There's a couple things that really got my attention on this one because, like I said, I'm using the older version of it, and you hit on both of them. The reticle is a huge one. To always have that reticle there, you can use the illumination if you want. Absolutely love that. And then the 5X, like I said, I use a magnifier on mine. I've got the 1X and the older 1X, and the magnifier is great, but it also adds weight to it, So to be able to use the 5X without having to have the magnifier on it, I mean, it's tempting to make that switch over to this new one, just really for those two reasons. And there's a couple other things. Like I love, and you touched on it as well, the magnification adjustment on the side is flush now, rather than the old one kind of stuck out a little bit and the buttons face you. Now they kind of face the left-hand side of the gun there. So that makes it a little bit more sleek, and they look cool. So, just a cool scope. I really love my Spitfire. I really can't say anything bad about them. They're pretty amazing little scopes.
No, they are. I mean, they're super functional. It's pretty much bulletproof design. They're extremely versatile. You'd be hard pressed to go wrong with one of them. Depending on a person's eyes, they may, a red dot can appear to, not be like a perfect dot, or they can have some distortion there, and you're not going to get that, with the reticle. So that's another really nice feature there. So if a person's been like, man, I've never really been able to use a red dot that well, a Spitfire may fill that role for you. Extremely versatile. Digging the Spitfire, and if you got an AR that doesn't have something on top of it, that'd be a good one to look at.
Yeah, definitely. And then if you want to put that Razor red dot on top of that Spitfire, like you said, just have the 5X and the red dot. Oh man, that'd be a heck of a setup right there. So
yeah, I mean, kind of getting the best of both worlds there for sure.
Yeah, definitely. Well, cool, Mark. Well, I appreciate you jumping on. As hunters, really as outdoorsmen, we get excited about new products coming out because, like what you guys do, you make things better, improved. So we look forward to what's new and what's coming out, and getting our hands on these things and utilize them. And they just, honestly, they make hunting easier for us. I mean, going back to the Fury HD, it makes hunting so much easier, more efficient, and so I appreciate you coming on and chatting about these things. Did we miss anything, Mark? Is there anything else that you wanted to touch on?
Man, no, I think we covered it all, and hopefully my rambling isn't the worst thing a person has listened to. Like I said, we do get excited about it. And we're all passionate users of our products here at Vortex, and so it's I think as hunters, as shooters, as outdoorsmen, I think you're kind of constantly looking for that better mousetrap, right? You're I think we're inherently tinkerers, or you're always like, well, yeah, I like that, but I want to do this, and this would work better over here. And so, you never have to twist my arm to chat about new products or optics or anything like that, because we can do that for days around here. So.
Well, hopefully we get a couple more times this next year to chat about things that are coming out. I know you guys will be releasing some other things throughout the year. That's just kind of how things work. And so hopefully we can jump on another podcast, talk about those things. And for those listening, like I said, I've got my hands on some products. Going to do some reviews on them. We'll put them up on our YouTube page. You can always find this information and a lot of information on these products on vortexoptics.com. The Vortex Nation podcast on, really YouTube, Vortex's YouTube page, which we have a link to that in our YouTube. I mean, really, guys, if you want to know more information on these, and we just did a 35,000 foot view overview of these things. I mean, you can get into the nitty gritty of each of these products. And so if these are products that you're looking for or interested in, I encourage you to go to any of those platforms and you'll be able to find some more information. I guess, Mark, where is the best place? I mean, I hit on all those, but is there a place that you would suggest people go to for information?
So, yeah, I mean, I think you hit them all, man. And so, I mean, and the only thing I might add is give us a call. I mean, we got a team of guys here. I mean, they are experts. No matter what you're doing in the shooting sports or in the hunting space, man, these guys, they know their stuff. They can answer your questions about products, and we definitely want to hear from our customers. We want feedback. We want to help you guys out. So, man, hit us up. So, I mean, obviously you got the website, you got our social channels, and then just, the old classic, give us a call. So, we want to hear from you. We want to chat with you and help you out.
What's the phone number for Vortex? Is it 804 Vortex or something like that?
So, yeah, exactly. 804 Vortex. So that's an easy way to remember it. And, it's on the website as well. If a person, wants to look it up, shoot us an email, give us a call. Like I said, hit us up. We'll chat. Like you said, there's really nobody here. You don't have to twist anybody's arm too hard to chat about hunting, fishing, or shooting or anything like that. So
sometimes I just call them just to chat about random hunting stories. So just give them a call.
Yeah, exactly. If you just need to talk.
Yeah. Ooh, you better be careful there, Mark. You might open up a can of worms there.
Yeah, exactly. I might be getting some calls from the guys downstairs now.
Yeah. Just call Eric. Make sure you talk to Eric. No, I'm just kidding. Oh, shoot. Well, Mark, thank you again. Appreciate you jumping on. Hopefully we get a chance to talk soon about some other products, but really do appreciate you and appreciate everything that you guys do over there at Vortex. So thank you, guys.
Nope, appreciate you guys. Appreciate the time, and let's talk soon.
Okay, sounds good. Thanks, buddy. All right, guys, thanks for listening to the podcast. Hopefully you guys got a lot of good information about these new products that Vortex is coming out with. If you guys have any questions, you can reach out to Mark at Vortex. You can reach out to myself. My email is terronh, which is TERRONH at ehunter.com. Again, you can reach out to Mark if you have any questions as well. But these new products are alive. They're out. You can go online. You can grab them. If you have any questions, let us know. But appreciate you guys listening to the podcast. Remember to subscribe, like, and share the podcast around. Thanks, guys.